do you think the 49ers are more likely to trade Debo or Ayuk? And the premise here is that Debo's in line for a massive payday. Ayuk could be two with one good season, apparently. And both of them apparently could bring back a bunch of draft picks because wide receivers are cryptocurrency right now. So given that the Niners don't seem super eager to spend $30 million on one wide receiver, let alone two, which one do you think is more likely to get traded by the 49ers?
Yeah. Well, Brian, I've said this for a while where I do feel like wide receivers are fairly easy to replace. I mean, if you look at the last couple drafts, like they've all talked about how outstanding the wide receiver class is. And you know what they're talking about this year about this class? How great the wide receiver class is. You know what they're going to talk about next year? How great the wide receiver class is. So I do think it is probably wise if you're to take a position and constantly cycle it through and cycle in young talent like wide receiver. I think that's what you do. And then he's talking about Brandon Ayuk or Debo. I think Debo's obviously the better player, and his contract is up now. And you're going with a guy that you just a quarterback or that's going to be his first year starting. He needs weapons, so I think you sign Debo and make Ayuk look good this year, and then trade Ayuk.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Unless something really weird happens and the Niners trade Debo, which would be the dumbest move of all time. Let's barring that, I don't think there's going to be enough money for Brandon Ayuk. And I think what the Niners probably could do is draft a wide receiver. Everyone's talking about how great this class is, right? Or how, I mean, every year is going to be like that. But this is another one. So they can take one of these wide receivers and have a guy sort of develop on the bench for a year like Aaron Banks did or something like that, Trey Sermon. And then if Brandon Ayuk has a great year, trade him for a first-round pick or something. If he doesn't, then you can sign him at a reasonable deal. But the Niners are obsessed with comp picks and getting value from players. I mean, if they get a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, they're going to throw a parade in downtown Santa Clara, which is not very big. But still, I think that the idea of I think they're looking at this market and saying, you know what? Ayuk could be worth something. We could flip him. So, good player, but I wouldn't be – again, I don't think they're really looking at this duo as being long-term together.
No, it doesn't have to be. I think if you get the quarterback right, the quarterback will help turn some of your other wide receivers into better players. It'll happen. It should happen with Ayuk. And then the quarterback will also attract other wide receivers. They'll want to come here and play, so you don't necessarily have to draft them because they'll want to come play for said quarterback.
Right. So, Brandon, don't buy. Continue to rent. And if you play well here, I mean, you might want to look at this upcoming season as your audition to the rest of the league. Although, who knows? Maybe Debo looked at it last season that way.
And Kyle, don't put him in the doghouse in the beginning of the season so he can rack up stats for you, and then you can trade him like you want to.
It's just interesting. You got one wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, working out with Trey Lance every day for the last 2 years, keeping his head down, not saying a damn word, just doing his thing. And his numbers haven't looked super great because he's played with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy wouldn't even look at him. Yeah. And you got Debo, who's over here like having like a little moment on social media, not working out with Trey. And Debo might be the one who stays long term. Who knows? I mean, maybe Ayuk just has this super explosive season with Trey Lance. I don't know, man. Things change a lot in the year. No, we never thought we'd be having this conversation about Debo 12 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pro that. I think it's a good move. I also just think it's timing too. I think Debo's the better player, but it also right now Debo's contract is up, and I think for me, I think I've talked about trading Debo before, but I don't think right now if you're to do it, it's not the wise time to do it because you really want to make Trey as comfortable as possible, and he needs weapons. So I would do what you suggested is wait, trade Ayuk if you're going to trade any of them.